My name's Gary Simmons and I run a successful martial arts school here in Sydney, Australia. Well, my major revelation was I knew I was kind of stuck. I've been running this business, the bricks and mortar business for about 20 years, and I've kind of got it running. It's completely systemized, and I have an awesome team, and I just knew I wanted to take it further, and the idea of opening up other schools and satellite schools doesn't really appeal to me. Once for the energy required, plus all the added expense of staffing and premises and all that kind of thing. So I didn't want to go down that track. And I just imagine if I get 1,000 students around the world doing my programs, that would really set me up and take me, my finances and the business to the next level. So I was really intrigued and inspired to do that for those reasons. I was really interested in online training, and I set up a couple of projects where I just built the whole thing and waited for the clients and students to come in, but it just didn't happen. And I knew I was onto something, and so I could see how the concept of the pilot was a good way to get started. I thought of the idea: ready, fire, aim, and so I was intrigued by the idea of building the course as you go and utilising the feedback and input from the students. So that was one of the main things. The Course Builders Laboratory changed my perspective because although I knew about those searching keywords and doing the research, it really had the structured way of researching and looking for the problem language and eavesdropping in on conversations online to really firstly ascertain if there is a need for the products and services I need, as well as is it going to be a viable business. But I think also importantly, it gave me the laser beam intention. With my business, I have my pilot was about non-violent self-defense, and previously I wrote a book and had some programs out that I created about 10 or 12 years ago, and it was kind of a shotgun approach. It's for everybody. And so through this process, I did a couple of pivots, as Danny calls them, where I realized, with the help of my coach, I'd be better off targeting the parents of preteens and coach them to teach their kids how to deal with potential bullying and harassment issues rather than teaching martial arts. So that was a major revelation for me. And so I knew I had the tools. I couldn't really target the kids themselves. And I knew from my school how every week practically I'm helping parents sort through these issues. So that really reinforced to me that there is definitely a market and a need and a way to help the world and the community to deal with this very serious problem. Having the structure, having the structure, the structured course going step by step, module by module, and it was a bit tough because in Australia, our December and January is kind of like the July, August in the US, where we have it's our summertime, so everything stops and school takes their long vacation. And so I had this dilemma because I needed to get this pilot launched, but it was right at the start of the school year. And I wasn't sure if people were going to be open to a pilot at that time because everything was new. But with my course, with my coach, we sort of worked through that and got really strategic. I explained the situation and the timing, the dates we have over here, and he helped me sort of strategize the exact launch time and how we're going to go about it and when I should start ringing up people, and it was successful. As I said, the time I did it was right at the start of our school year, the end of summer. And so people are still settling down into their routines, but I just knew I just had to start it sooner than later. So the dilemma was I didn't know how to go about it because I don't have a list or an audience. I have no one. I do have my existing clients, who are my students and former students. So I followed the formula by just sending out an email, and basically it's in the course, the exact email template that you sent out. You just change the details around. And I was lucky. I isolated about 100, 120 people on my database who I think would have been a good fit for my pilot. So I sent out the emails to about 100, 120 people or so. And from them I got about 50 or 60 responses. And then I just had to pick up the phone and methodically go down the list and speak to them and pitch to them and get them follow the script that was in the course, and then saying, well, no, do you want in on this thing? And also I found asking them for payment, because in my business people pay me on a direct debit, so they're already paying me. So I basically have to ask them for this upsell. And so that was a little bit daunting, but what I did, I just really brainstormed with my wife a script which I thought would really engage them, and so we used that, and I recorded the calls as per the suggestion in the course. I got some really good info and problem language and insight into my potential clients, and so I was able to hone that sales process. So that was all quite kind of emotional and physically and mentally daunting, because like calling the clients, writing the scripts and just getting it down, and then having that interaction really took a lot. And I'd go into the room, into our bedroom, and with the phone, and had my laptop there, and just get the recorder going and pick it up and just bite the bullet. I was doing about try to do 3 or 4 calls a day. It was it was quite daunting, but when someone came on, it was a real yes. Another one I filled in, so that was quite exciting. As I said, I wanted to make the $2,000 that was part of the course. Make $2,000 from a pilot in 60 days. Because of the holiday season, it took a little bit more than 60 days, but not much. And so I committed to get 20 people on, paying $100, or it was actually $97. And I only wanted 20 people to do my course. And as soon as I got my 20, I stopped the calls, but because I committed to everybody that only 20 people were going to do the pilot. But I reckon I could have got about 50 to do the pilot if I kept pushing on. When I did my pilot, I did it over 6 weeks, a 1-hour webinar or 1-hour Zoom call. And so I did it with PowerPoint and a PowerPoint presentation. So I had this huge deadline of creating 7,000 to 8,000 words of original copy each and every week. And I found that absolutely was one of the biggest challenges, physical challenges I've had in a long time. And I really had to burn the midnight oil, get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and go to bed at midnight and just write and write and write. And sometimes I just didn't know how I was going to do it. It was, say 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the call was on at I think it was 8 o'clock. I did 7 o'clock, and I was still putting PowerPoints together, just thinking, oh my goodness, I'm never going to do this in time. But I did, and that was a real challenge. Literally down. I had no time to rehearse. I just had to hope for the best, and the first 1 or 2 were quite shaky and stumbling around, and a couple of technical issues, and not knowing an exact cue of when to change screens, but I did it, and plus, the first time I ever used Zoom, and so once again, my coach helped me. We did a dress rehearsal, just getting the technical aspects, but now I feel I'm quite a bit of a dab hand. I didn't get as many testimonials as I like, because people were busy, but I got a few really good glowing testimonials and some good feedback, which I think will be very handy later on. And I think one of the most amazing things is, because this course was going for so long, 6 weeks, I had to produce, I think I mentioned, I had to produce 7,000 to 8,000 words of copy each week. And I just did the total. So I got 47,000 words of original content just sitting on my hard drive. And I thought, that's a book. And it's a real specific content for a specific niche. And so I'm still working through the Course Builders Lab, but I've really got the bones of the book, because I've got week 1 to week 6. So it kind of flows, and obviously I have to edit it and maybe pad some things out, but I'm really, really positive and excited that I have a book in the wings as well as this program. So that was pretty cool. And I thought, wow, where could that take me? And then because my course, another exciting thing is my course is about non-violent self-defense for preteens. And so for parents, I can also pivot the course slightly and make it for teens. I could make the course for people involved with domestic issues. I can do it for in the workplace. So I've got all of this content which I can just change and hone around, and for all these different target audiences. And I thought, wow, the sky's the limit here. I want this to work. I'm really invested. Failure is not an option. And if that means, and I'm creating stuff that's not, before I used to do live gigs, as a corporate speaker and trainer, you do it, it's gone, that's it, move on to the next one. But with this, I'm recording, I've got hours and hours of great content, over 6 hours of great content. Of really, I really poured my heart and soul into it, and I just knew I'm creating something good and worthwhile. And I want to lift my business to the next level. I've been going for 20 years doing the same thing, and not getting any younger. And I really need to get this. Happening. And I've had a couple of things that haven't worked, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want something that works and works well, and that's sustainable. I think if you're serious about creating an online training business, it's a really worthwhile thing to do. Don't think it's easy, because it's not. It's really tough, and it's going to confront you and push you on all levels. And if you're on the fence, don't do it. But if you're totally committed, if failure is not an option, and you want to work through it, well, then it's a no-brainer. Just dive in there and get into it. And so I'm leaving myself out there to the experts. I'm going to success leads clues, and I'm going to follow those clues and do whatever I have to do, no matter how long it takes. So I'm just backing Mirasee, and I'm backing Danny, and I'm backing myself that I'm going to make that happen.